So you want to become a holistic nutrition and health coach and you do not know how. Well, this is the podcast for you. My name is Laura Jackson.
And I'm Amanda Quinn.
And on today's episode of Fit Chicks Chat, we are sharing with you guys the 5 steps to becoming a certified holistic nutrition and health coach. We get these questions all the time. Of course, as you guys know, we have Fit Chicks Academy where we run certification programs. But a lot of people still don't know the process. They're like, what do I have to do? How does this work? How do I become a health coach? What is a health coach? Like all of these questions around it. So we wanted to dedicate today to chatting about that so you guys can jump in and get into this amazing field.
Exactly. And I'm so excited to talk about this stuff. I mean, I'm always excited for our podcast together, but I love this because I do think, I field a lot of the questions that come into our Fit Chicks Academy. I am the one that handles all of the calls and everything else. And these are really common questions that people have. These are the things that people really want to know. They like, okay, this is the career path for me. I know it is. I feel it in my heart. It lights me up. It excites me. It's the thing that is so my jam. I want to talk about it all the time, but I just don't know how to go about this.
Yeah.
And so being able to just share this information, I think is so key.
Well, and I also think it's also we need health coaches now more than ever because there's so much money that is spent on healthcare. And when I recently got the award of top fitness professional in Canada by CanFit Pro, and during my acceptance speech, I wanted to talk about something that I think is really important. And I think that our industry as fitness, nutrition, health coaches is one of the most underrated industries in the preventative healthcare space. And I know for some people, they might be like, whoa, that's pretty heavy, but it's true. If we can start to change people's lifestyle habits, the way they eat, the way they move, we can literally change the course of their health, whether they're going to end up in, heart attack, diabetes, all these things that are a huge part of it is lifestyle related. So I think we need more health coaches to start to, reduce these not only costs, but the potential for all these health issues and life-threatening diseases. So that's
definitely.
No,
100%. I talk about this all the time. I think it's one of those undervalued areas. And I think, I talk about it from a perspective of why I believe, health coaches always undervalue what it is that they do. The people that are already health coaches, they undervalue it from that perspective. They don't see it as what they're doing is preventative medicine. And so I agree with you 100% on that. And I think that it is something that we need more so than ever before because people are getting sicker, they're getting tired, they are falling victim to a lot of marketing out there that is false advertising, which we're not going to go into a Mythbuster episode today.
We love those Mythbusters.
I know. I'm we'll have to have one soon where we talk about some of those things. But I think it's just it's so important for people to just step into this role more so than ever before because people are literally dying and need this help.
Totally. And to me also, it's one of the funnest industries. There's so many different things that you can do with it, right? You can do one-on-one coaching, you can do group coaching, you can do online coaching, you can do corporate wellness, you can work at a health clinic. There's so many different things that you can do, and it complements so many other modalities. So naturopathic doctors, registered dietitians, fitness professionals, yoga instructors, having this certification totally will complement all of those things or will allow you to work with those people who have those certifications.
And outside of that, and just outside of that too, not even just from a working standpoint, but even just think about your own health and your own family's health and how leading, understanding it from a deeper level and being able to lead by example just from that deeper understanding, even if you're not someone who wants to be, the pusher, the person who's trying to push these things. What I'm saying is when you are leading by example, people will just naturally gravitate in that direction if they are close to you. Or they'll gravitate the other way. And if that's the case, then there's nothing that you can really do because then it becomes you're a power struggle, right? So versus that, it's just you do your thing and people will see how it's impacted your health, your life, and you'll have those people coming up and being what are you doing differently? What
exactly.
You've changed. And when you start getting that, that's when you know you've got them. You've hooked them into the idea of maybe you should try these things too, right? And then that's when you can share that knowledge and you can start making real impact with the people that are closest to you outside of just work stuff.
So when we're talking about like what is a holistic nutrition and health coach, and this is something people are like, what does that even like entail? So
Yeah.
as a health coach, so the definition by the Institute of Integrated Nutrition is a wellness authority and supportive mentor who motivates individuals to cultivate positive health choices. Health coaches educate and support clients to achieve their health goals through lifestyle and behavior adjustments. So
Cool.
that is for just a health coach. A holistic nutrition and health coach, what we do is we also mix nutrition and wellness coaching, focusing not just on food, it's a huge component of it, but of course, lifestyle. It's a habits-based coaching approach. We look at individuals, not just, giving blanket statements like, okay, this is exactly how you should transform your health because, this is the way that everyone on my program does it. It's very individualized to someone's lifestyle, to their background, to their needs, and we look at the body as a whole. We look at the person as a whole, not just as like, here's the action that you have to do. So in addition, so that's kind of what a holistic nutrition and health coach is. What I want to give you guys too is just a little bit of stats here about like the actual potential. So this industry, market data, they do all these, research on different industries to see where it's growing into. And the health coaching market in North America was a $6.14 billion industry in 2017, which was up 15% from 3 years before that. And it's forecasted to grow at a 5.4% average annually. So I know for numbers, you might be like, what the heck? But that just means when people are like, oh, there's so many health coaches out there, there's not, like, people aren't going to need my help. I'm not going to be able to work in this field. Yes, you will. By 2022, it's supposed to be up to $7.85 billion spent on health coaching and over 120,000 coaches practicing. So there is a lot of opportunity for you guys. Mm-hmm. And also, in addition to that, they were doing some studies too about, weight loss coaching and how this is one of the fastest growing markets in the health coaching area. So not just like, okay, these programs like Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and all these other big ones that are out there, but people actually want it from a more of a holistic approach. So for anyone who's interested in getting into this industry, like I said, the opportunities are huge. There is so much there for you, not only financially, but there are so many people who need your help because, of course, we're seeing our world getting fatter and sicker every single year, especially in North America. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that being said, setting the background, we've got a huge opportunity. This is what a holistic health coach is. Let's get pumped. How are we going to do it? Step number 1, you're going to research programs. You're going to
do the research. You're going to do the background information.
Yeah. Go out there and research health coaching programs and the certifications that are available. And I mean, one of the things that I always say to people, because people will come to me a lot, of course, we have our certifications, but they ask me about other certifications. And I'm like, the first thing is ask yourself, like, what do I want to coach in? So do I want to coach in, like, with a focus on more the nutrition side? Do I want to focus on weight loss, like helping my clients holistically lose weight? Do I want to focus more just on lifestyle habits? Like find a program that, number 1, covers what you want to learn, and any good program should have a program brochure and a really good information about what it entails. We run info sessions as well to take you guys behind the scenes to see if it's a fit for you, showing you exactly the learning platform, exactly how the modules work, meeting the instructors, all that stuff. So find the one that entails the actual information you want to learn, but not only that, one that you feel connected to, one that has a community that speaks to your beliefs and your heart. And I think this is huge, and I know you agree with this as well, because there's a ton of programs out there that can deliver the same information, but there's some that aren't going to, A, it's not going to resonate with you, and B, it's not a community you can grow with for the long term, and C, your community is everything, especially when you're working in an industry. It's who's going to be your support system, who could be your network that could help you get clients or jobs, who's going to be there for you when you're not feeling 100% and you're like, I don't know if I could do this, right? So you want just not 100%. The program that covers the topic, you want the program that has the community that gives you that, that place that you feel like you're coming home.
Definitely. And I think too, the community aspect and that the way that the information is delivered I think is also something that you want to look at. I know that sometimes especially with a lot of programs being online in today's society, it's like, make sure that it has options for the way that the program is delivered. Because I do think that, sometimes they just have like, I've seen courses where it's just like, oh, like, you pay all this money and then you just get a book that you're supposed to just memorize and then write a test.
Yeah.
And if that's what you're looking to do, then that's fine. That's fine for you. But a lot of people can't really learn. They don't feel like they know the knowledge. They don't feel like they learn from it. So research the program and the style of learning that is going to be presented to you as well, to make sure that it's something that you're really looking for. If you're looking to like have a deep dive into content and to really have that deep knowledge base, probably just, having some PDFs is probably not the best approach for you. May or may not be. But oftentimes it's like you need to have, I know with our program we offer, it's like you get the video, you get the course notes, you get the audio files, you get the support documents, you get everything that you would need so that depending on how you learn, you will be able to be supported in that way. And I think that that's a really key thing too.
Completely. And I mean, at the end of the day, guys, you're health coaching. You need to practice the act of coaching. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but look for a program that is going to not only give you that theory, but it's going to actually make you put it into practice. Because there is no amount of books that you can read that will prepare you for sitting in front of a client and coaching them. There is no books. Like it literally,
oh my gosh, no.
You could be the smartest person in the world. You could, get 100% on every test, but then you don't know how to deliver the information to a human being in a way that's actually going to help them make changes. Like that's huge. So do the research.
I always say, like, in theory, everything makes sense. In theory, you're like, okay, got it. And then when you go to do it, you're like, wait, what? But I find when you actually practice, and I know we'll talk about this shortly, but when you actually put it into practice is when you like know it. Like that's when you're like, okay, you don't just understand it, you like know it. Because you're like, when your body remembers things, it remembers it differently than when you're just reading it.
Well, and this is where too, when you're looking at certification, so most health coaching, there are different bachelor's degrees and things like that if you want to work in a medical facility. So, dietitians, of course, are very different than health coaches. They have a governing body. They, of course, have to have university degrees. They work in hospitals. It's a totally different thing. Okay. It's different than a nutritionist. It's different than all of it. But for health coaching, there's a lot of certification programs. So you can do a certification. You don't need to go to university or college. But typically just prepare yourself that a health coaching certification will probably take you anywhere from 2 to 6 months to complete. So even for our program, the program content is delivered over 8 weeks, but you have up to 5 months to complete the whole thing, which we see most people finish between the 3 to 5 month part. And this way too, it's like you're not overwhelmed, you can absorb the information, but that's something you want to make sure that you are preparing yourself in terms of time, that, okay, this is about how long it's going to take. It's not a weekend course. And if it is, I wouldn't do it. It's something that you have to prepare, but of course you're learning a new skill. So it's going to be about 2 to 6 months. Do your research, find ones, of course, like we said, with the theory and the practical. And of course, make sure it's something too that can, if you are already certified, that's going to be a great complement for your current business. So if you're already a personal trainer, find a health coaching certification that you can then add on to your personal training business. Or if you're a yoga instructor, or even for us, some of our holistic nutrition weight loss expert grads, one of them is an esthetician. She's a holistic esthetician, which I think is so cool. And all of the products that she offers are they're all natural. She does, aesthetics when she's doing facials and things like that. She did this certification to bring up her knowledge of holistic nutrition, holistic health, so she could add that coaching into her aesthetics and also help explain the products better. So there's a lot of different things. If you already have a business, look for something though that will complement what you're currently doing. So you're not just, doing what we call the course collecting, where you're just taking random courses just to beef up your resume with a bunch of certificates. That's no one anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've researched, you're finding ones that you like. Now you've got to, number 2, you have to select the program. And for many people, this is where they even get stuck. I've done the research. I like
which one.
Yeah.
Which one do I take?
You've got to pull the plug. You got to pull the trigger. You've got to make a choice.
Yeah. My thing is always pay attention to your gut. Pay attention to the thing that when you're reading it, you're like, spending maybe a bit more time on that one. Or when you're reading it, you find yourself like really enthralled by the information, or you feel really connected to like the copy, the content, like the way that they deliver, the way that they speak. Yeah. Like it's really just like, what I remember when I took my yoga certification, it was like, okay, where do I want to take one? Like there's like a million different places I could take a yoga certification, right? And I just was like, I found a teacher that I thought with David Robson, and I thought he was funny, and like he was traditional but not traditional. He was totally my vibe, because it was like, yes, I'm going to teach you in this way, but I'm also going to just be a normal human and like be funny about things and make jokes and stuff. And like, that's how I wanted to be taught. So it's like, find the thing that you connect with, that connects to your personality type, your style of learning, your approach, because you don't want to do something like, if I took a program that was super rigid, it wouldn't work for me.
Completely. Or the delivery too, like if things are dry, if things are, I don't know, like I've taken a lot of programs and a lot of courses in my life, and for me, a number one thing that it really boils down to is the instructors. Like I need someone who is not just like, I recently am taking a course and oh my gosh, the content is so good, but the delivery is so bad that it's like, I find myself just like, wah, wah, wah. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's very monotonous, so like finding the things that, like people that you feel connected to, that you're doing the content, you love it. Like you feel pumped about it as you're listening to it. Like that's one thing that you've got to make a decision. You've got to pull the trigger.
You can't just keep sitting and being like, oh, what about this?
I want to do it. Like,
you know, and here's the thing. If you think that there's like, say there's like 3 courses that are similar, but they deliver different content, and you're kind of like, I like them all. Choose one for now, and then see how it goes. And then at the end of that, if you're like, I still am really interested in what that was going to teach you, take that one after. You can always, you don't have to stop your learning, which I know is also one of your points, but it's like, you don't have to stop your learning. You shouldn't stop your learning. You should continue to grow and learn, but choose one and make a decision and move forward, because you can get paralyzed in that decision-making process. Like you were saying, you could literally just get stuck being like, I don't know. There's so many good options. And then you take nothing.
And then a year goes by and you haven't moved forward.
Exactly.
I was recently listening to Jim Rohn, who's very into the self-development and personal development, because we talk a lot about this on the podcast. As much as we are constantly growing and learning in our craft, personal growth, mindset growth is such a huge part of life in anything to do with your personal fitness, your nutrition, your health, or your clients, if you're coaching clients.
Yeah.
But he was talking about, he's like, you know, if you want to, the best predictor of the next 5 years of your life, if you don't make any changes, just look at the last 5 years. And I was like, oh my God. No, but it's so true, because people are like, I want my life to change in the next 5 years, but they're not willing to personally make changes. And this is where, if you're not willing to personally change things in your life, or sign up for the programs, or pick up the books and put in the work, and you want your life to change and it's not, sorry, babe, it's on you. And that's where, like, it's one of those things that at the end of the day, you know, I always say to our students too, like, I'm here to support you and to coach you, but I'm also here to challenge you. And when you step outside of your comfort zone, that's where your life is going to change. Totally. So it's starting to, you've got to take action. You've got to make a choice. So number 2, you're going to select your program and you're going to get certified. You're going to complete the program. So now this is where, but this
that's
is where
the other thing. Yes.
This is where it's time to put in the work. And this is this is the most beautiful time. You're putting in the work of learning something new. You're changing your habits. You're changing your thought patterns. You're growing in areas that will change every area of your life. Because you can't just change one area of your life and it changes the rest of it. You know what I mean?
Everything impacts your life. Yeah. Like
it's like you're baking a cake.
You do.
Yeah. Like you're baking a cake and, you know, suddenly you're putting in, let's say, you know, cranberries. Well, then one day you decide, okay, I'm just going to change that one ingredient to chocolate chips. It totally changes the flavor of the entire cake, right? It's the same thing with your life. You change one little thing, it changes the entire entity of it.
You and your great analogies.
I know. So this is where it's like, you're going to be putting in the work. You're going to be combining theory and practice and learning concepts. And not only that, this is where too, during the certification process is where you're also really building not only your skills, but you're building your confidence. And
100%.
This is, you know, as you're going through the process, you know, we're so hard on ourselves that we want to be at the end. And you and I are like this. We're always like, oh my God, why aren't we here yet? well, guys, you haven't put in the work yet. And that's one thing that we have to understand too. Like, okay, maybe we will get there in a year or get there in 6 months. But right now, on day one, you got to put in the work before you get to where you want to be. And it's a great time because you're going to one day look back and remember that first day when you started the program. And now you're like this successful health coach and you love what you do. And you're like, I'll never forget that first day where I was nervous and I didn't know what I was doing. But I just trusted the process and I put in the work and now I'm here. So that's number 2.
100%.
So now you're certified. Okay. So this is again, the 5 steps to becoming a health coach. Number 3 is you have to put it into practice.
Yes.
So you've got your certification, and this is where, again, a lot of people, and if you have a good certification, which again, I'm going to do a little toot our own horn, in our certification, not only are you learning the theory, we also have practical components. So there's like, we have assignments where you're putting things into practice, and the final practical is actually done live with me or one of our programs coaches, where we're actually going through a health coaching scenario. So you're actually coaching a real client, which I think is one of the most transformational pieces of our entire course, because it allows you to get to actually, do it. And the confidence that comes from actually going through a health coaching session, it's huge. But
definitely,
for a lot of people, what I see is they get certified and they don't put anything into practice and they just let it go onto the back burner. And if you want to become a really great health coach, you've got to go out there and get clients. You've got to get testimonials. You've got to build your confidence. You've got to get results. So you have something concrete to not only share if you want to open a business, but also if you want to work for somewhere else, because there's a lot of places now that are hiring health coaches that you could put it on your resume.
For sure. Yeah. And I think, the thing is too, is that if you don't put it into practice, it's like, what do they say? If you're not practicing what you've learned, you lose it, right? Like that's the whole thing. You have to consistently keep doing these things, because repetition is what's going to help you really remember it and learn it. And also it'll help you deliver it in a way. Like when I first started teaching fitness classes, for example, my delivery was terrible. It was awkward. It was weird. And then eventually it became really natural because of practice, because I put it into practice over and over and over again.
Well,
it's the same thing with anything.
I was just talking about this with one of our students on a practical. We're talking about the whole idea. I was saying how, the practical is the most important thing. And she was like, oh my God, this totally changed it for me. Like,
yeah,
all the things I knew. And now I actually know I can do this.
Well, yeah, because it gives you the confidence to be like, wait, I just did that. I know what I'm doing now. Yeah. I've got this.
And it gives you
versus just sitting in your chair in your office being like, I think I know.
Yeah. And it gives you the structure. And I mean, we also provide, the framework to be able to run a coaching session. So you literally can just, go through the sheet and run it. But putting it into practice. But I was talking to her about when we first started teaching. I know I've talked about this before on the podcast, but like how when I first started teaching, you mimic. When you don't know something, you model after someone else. So I was trying to instruct like Jillian Michaels, and then you and I were teaching together, and then you were trying to teach like me. So it was like this diluted, weird Jillian Michaels /
I was like a Laura / Jillian Michaels / like awkward human. Like I was teaching, like I wasn't even being myself. I remember leaving class all the time and I'd be exhausted because I'm like, oh, it was like I was acting.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, it was like literally like, because I had no idea how to find my own voice, but through practice is how I found my own voice. And I had a very strong voice when it came to teaching, but it took time and it took practice. It took repetition. It took those things, putting all of my knowledge of what I learned and developing my own approach. The knowledge itself, the foundational stuff doesn't change, whether you're teaching it or I'm teaching it. The way that you teach doesn't change the foundational stuff. It's the approach. But you'll find your approach that flows when you practice what you preach. Like when you have learned it and you've taken the theory and you put it into practice over and over and over again. Sometimes it'll click quickly. Sometimes it'll take a year, whatever, but eventually it will click. And then you'll have your voice, you'll have your flow, and it'll totally make sense to you. But it takes time and it takes practice.
Completely. And that's where, guys, like, reach out to your friends and family members once you're certified and be like, if you don't have clients yet, be like, can I coach you for 4 weeks or 6 weeks in exchange for a testimonial? Because then again, you're building up your business, you're getting your practice in, but and you're getting people results. You're also now, building up your confidence. You're starting to see what you're capable of and getting feedback of where you need to tweak. Because you know, we always say this too in our Infitix Academy, you can't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 25. So when we have people who are getting newly certified and they're looking at me, who I've been in this industry for 11 years, and they're saying, oh my gosh, like I'll never be like Laura. Well, if you saw Laura on day 1, you would be like, oh my God, I never want to be like Laura. Like awkward. How many times I messed up, how many times I gave too much information. I overwhelmed my clients. They wouldn't stick to the plans. I had to learn new approaches, like all of these things over time that now I consider myself a really great coach, but it didn't happen just on day 1. So the more practice you put in, get the friends and family members, this will make sure that you're becoming a successful health coach. A lot of people get the paper, they don't do anything with it. So you've got to keep on going and you've got to keep practicing. So then that leads to number 4. So after you're putting in the practice, you've got your certification, is you're going to either start your own business or you're going to get a job. Those are your 2 options to work in health.
That's it. Those are it. You can either, and one of the areas though that I find, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, you touched on it, is one of the areas that there are so many companies right now that are hiring health coaches for corporate wellness. So corporate wellness is becoming this massive focus for corporations. And the reason being is that when they do the math, and you could even present the math to them if you wanted to pitch a position, but when they do the math and they see the amount of revenue spent on an annual basis for larger corporations on sick leave and absence with their employees versus investing in health coaching and health practices and fitness practices and things like that for their employees, this cost savings is astronomical. So if they understand that, and more companies are starting to understand that, the idea of having somebody on board, whether it's a virtual health coach or an in-person health coach, which are 2 very great options. Virtual is really good for huge corporations that are like worldwide or global corporations. And then, in-person would be better for like a corporation that's like more in your, like a smaller business. But they understand that. And when the owners are starting to understand that number, and just by understanding that number, they're willing to invest. They're willing to invest. So if you're looking for a job, but you're like, I don't necessarily want to work at like a clinic or something, start thinking about that route, because that route is exploding and you need to sort of jump in on that if that's the approach that you want to go. And you can also do it as an independent consultant. So you don't even have to be an employee of that company. You can do it as an independent consultant and be your own business.
Well, and that's just it. Like from corporate wellness, like you said, is huge. Health clubs, any fitness clubs also have wellness coaches, health coaches that work out of their club. Chiropractic clinics, naturopathic clinics, they're constantly hiring, or you can rent space and run your own in person. Or if you want to run a totally virtual company, you can do webinars and workshops or create an online program. We have our online biz building lab where we help fitness, nutrition, and health coaches build their online programs and start their online businesses. So there's a lot of opportunity, but just know that you can do either or you can do both. You can get a job somewhere, whether it be part-time or full-time, and then also start your own thing on the side if that's what you want to do as well. But of course, the business side, we can go down all the different things that you could do. But this is where if you want to work in this, you essentially have 2 choices. There's huge opportunity in both, but just get clear on which one it is that you want to do. Because some people, they would prefer to work in an organization, whereas other people would totally prefer, they're entrepreneurs, they want to start their own thing.
Yeah.
And then
you have a choice, and
you have a choice.
And it's just know what you are more comfortable with, and know that it can also change. Yeah. This is the other thing too. Don't feel like just because you've made a decision to go one route or the other that you can't switch at any point in time. So just keep your open mind to what is possible.
Exactly. So the last thing, and this is kind of ties back to, and I think this is really important when you're looking for a certification. So even when you're in the research mode, this is something that is huge, and it's about continually learning and growing. And a lot of certifications, they give you the certification and then you're like done with it, right? I think it's really important, and people might disagree with me, but I have always loved being a part of organizations, and I prefer to be a part of organizations that require ongoing continuing education to keep up your certification. Because if I'm going to work with someone, right? If I'm going to hire a health coach and I know that they went to ABC Green Health Coaching School,
right,
and they did their certification 5 years ago, and that school doesn't require ongoing continuing education credits, well, how do I know that they've ever even taken a class since then, or ever kept up with current changes or what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah,
all of the organizations, this is something that's on my list when I'm researching, is they have to have a continuing education program within their certification, because I want to keep learning and growing in that field. And once you become something, right, guys, it's not like you just become it and you stop. It's your life's work. You're a student for life. You're constantly adding to your craft. You're growing in your craft. You're getting better. You're maybe learning more about different supplements versus foods in 1 year of your life. Or maybe you're learning more about digestive health versus hormones. Like,
or learning about sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you have a different focus.
And we cover in the Holistic Nutrition Weight Loss Expert Program, we cover all of that, but we also have we offer continuing education. So Fit Chicks University, every year, there's 3 workshops that we do, and it's great because they're things that are going to complement what you've already learned. Like, you're not relearning stuff you already know, you're adding onto your skill set constantly. And then also you're staying up with your certification. So,
and all the information in Fit Chicks University, one of the things that I really love is how topical we make it and how current we make it. So we make the information something that is going to be like, you know, things that people are really searching for in today's society and what they really need, so that it's something that is going to allow you to stay current as well.
Exactly. So those are our 5 steps to becoming a holistic nutrition and health coach. Just to recap, number 1, you're going to research your health coaching programs to find the one that's a fit for you. If you've had a bad experience before, or with a certification or an online certification, there are so many great ones out there now, including ours, little shameless self-promo. You can download our program brochure at fitchicksacademy.com/HWLE brochure. But check them out. See what speaks to not only the knowledge you want, but speaks to your heart and has the community that you want to be a part of. Secondly, you're going to select a program, and this is about taking action. Don't get stuck in the research mode, analysis paralysis. Yeah. Like, don't keep being like, I've been thinking about this, I've been thinking about this. Yeah, like, stop thinking about it, do it. Pull the trigger, go do it.
And don't let fear step in the way. Like, well, what if I make the wrong decision? Your heart, your intuition knows what's the right decision for you. Follow that intuition, follow that gut. And if you're not tapped into that already, that's okay. Pay attention, like, do a pros and cons list for each of them, and like, do whatever you need to do just to take a step to move forward and make a decision, because literally you will only regret staying stuck. You won't regret making any decisions to move forward.
And at the end of the day, guys, there is no wrong decision. We have to stop putting this pressure on ourselves that I'm making a right or wrong decision. Whatever the decision is will lead you where you're supposed to go, wherever that is. But it will move you forward. The worst thing in life is standing still. We're not meant to stand still. We're meant to move and grow and change. So select the program, do the work and get certified, enjoy that process. And then number 3, put it into practice after you've got your certification. So get those clients, get friends and family members so you can actually practice and get testimonials and build your confidence and all of that stuff. And build your resume if you want to go work for someone else. And then number 4, you're either going to decide to start your own business or get a job. Now, we also did a really great podcast a while ago about the top 10 non-cookie cutter things that you can do in the fitness industry. So there are 10 ways that you can also work, not teaching just classes, but there's a lot of stuff on there too that's really beneficial for health coaches if you don't have a fitness certification, that you also can go on there and see a ton of different ideas of how you can get started in this space.
Like how to think outside the box, for sure.
Exactly. And then number 5 is about continually learning and growing. So it's not like you just start and stop. You're going to keep growing in this field. You're going to keep getting better, and you're going to keep diversifying the things that you talk about. Amanda and I are both huge in continuing education. We're both constantly always doing webinars and classes and courses in our own lives, because new information is coming out all the time, right? Like new studies and new information and new supplements, and you're gonna have clients coming to you and being like, what about this detox tea I'm seeing all about, with Instagram influencers? And you're like, no, don't take the tea. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You have to be prepared to talk about these things.
Oh my God. As a side note though, I have to add this to this just really quickly. Did you see the article that Instagram is now going to ban all weight loss ads and campaigns? I know that this has nothing to do, but you just triggered it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. When I read that, I was like, yes, good, amazing.
Well, and I do
Stop
think
it.
I do think
Stop selling garbage.
Well, I also do think that that's a whole other podcast that we should get on because.
We are. I have that written out so guys, stay tuned. It's coming up because it's going to be one that we talk about because it's so important and it's so cool and it's such a big news piece.
For sure.
So stay tuned for that podcast.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Hopefully we've inspired you to get out of just your head, take that passion that you have inside of you and go get certified, become a certified holistic nutrition and health coach. We have our upcoming certification with FitChicks Academy. You can check it out at fitchicksacademy.com/HWLE brochure. So that's where you can go download the program brochure, get all the information, also join one of our upcoming info sessions with me, and you can learn more about it. Okay, guys, have an amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.